Trader.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
Okay, hello everybody. No camera today. A little bit late start, but that should be expected on Thursdays from me. You guys know I always start a little bit late. Sorry about that, but hopefully, and also no camera. I didn't feel like messing with the camera today, so I thought we would just jump into it. It's only going to be like a 30-minute stream. I am planning to release finally my second baby powder written report tomorrow on TRI. So look forward to that. It was going to be finished today, but I came across some interesting information about the M2 money supply that I need to account for. There's a lot of stuff being pushed on Twitter about M2 money supply. I'm sure you guys have seen, but I don't think, let me just pull up the chart. I might as well pull it up while look at this on a monthly. Look at this candle. Violent. It only really matches the COVID candle. But if I add in this Colin Talks Crypto guy who made this, I always like to give credit to whoever did things. And you can go to his channel and watch about this whole thing that he made, which is just a combination of basically every single country's money supply. And then he talks about like shifting it forward and so on and so forth. So like if you shift it forward, like he says like 70, 60, 70 days. But then he's also saying 100 is all over the place. But basically anywhere between 40 to 100 days. And if you go back, actually, it could even be 0 days. He says that the market follows the money supply. And it does look like it generally follows. I'm not going to go into this too deep because I think you guys can look this up on Twitter. Just type in M2 money supply impacts on the market. But it does look like we had quite a pullback, which caused this dump in the market. You can see we had a similar pullback here, and we can actually look how much was the high to low. Here it was 9%. And here, yeah, it's about 10%. It's actually not that different compared to what happened in September of 2023 in October. So, and you had the same kind of dip in the money supply, which you didn't have before. And then here also you had this big money supply dip, right? And you ended up getting your 26% pullback in the market. So it all kind of lines up. But I don't think it's this simple. I really don't think so. And I know all these lines are ugly. Maybe I should show something without any lines. Maybe that's easier to kind of visualize for you guys. There you go. And I also like making this green. Yeah, so you can see how these pullbacks have lined up over time. Now we had the massive increase. The only time you didn't really have a pullback and you had the big dump was the actual COVID crash. And I mean, that's justified because the whole world shut down. But the rest of these, you can see how it lines up very well. How much are we offset by? So right now we're offset, by the way, by 4 weeks. And you can see how this lines up pretty well. It's almost actually late. And now here, it's basically in line. And it's saying we should head up soon. So assuming you believe in this theory, then that makes a pretty convincing case for why this is potentially the bottoming area. All right, and we can even also go here and look at this on a higher time frame. And you could see here. So if you look at RSI down here, by the way, this is disaster area. Like this is really bad. This is pure disaster. And I don't recommend any longs here. I mean you can take the risk, but if this breaks down, we're gonna head way lower. If you want to put like tight stops or something, I mean it's fine. It could be an amazing opportunity to buy, but RSI looks like pure garbage here. This is I don't think I have anything on the daily chart that went down this far. We only have here, right here, where we went quite far down, and we sat down there for about a week before having a pretty strong rebound, and then we continued lower. Part of me thinks that we have to get some kind of rebound. This is extremely oversold on a daily chart. I'm so wrecked. Well, if you're like so wrecked, then you shouldn't have any money to buy more. So you're not that wrecked. You're not fully wrecked if you can buy more. By the way, hello everybody that's watching. Feel free to say something, and you can participate, and we can talk about things, and you can tell me I don't know anything. Let's line this up a little bit better, actually. It's right there. This should be a bit like that. Kind of lining up with down here. It seems to line up decently well. Got all the midpoints. Everything checks out. Yeah, just like that. Hello, Gills. Hello, Reddit. Interesting name. We've got all of Reddit here. Please don't troll me too hard, Mr. Reddit. Or ban me. I know Reddit is a fan of banning people that use its platform. Hello, Gianluca. Okay, so obviously we're on this parallel channel. We're at a major support. If you look at anything else other than this parallel support channel, you're not at almost any support. But if we look at this right here, that another random line, decent support. But if we break down from here, it's going to get pretty ugly, I think. So just keep that in mind. But this is quite a strong support level, and the global money supply helps give me some kind of, how do I say this? Feeling that we may not go lower and we should rebound. Now, the interesting thing is there's a lot of news coming out. There's a lot. Before last week, if you think about it, last week when we were tumbling in the past couple of weeks, it was just tariff. Trump's tariffing this, tariffing that. It was like huge tariff news. Now, he's seemingly scaling back a lot of the tariffs. Yeah, of course, there's the UE 200% increase on some stuff because they put a tariff on whiskey or whatever. But it's in the grand scheme of things, that is kind of inconsequential. I don't think anyone should worry about that one too much. When the markets care about numbers. They don't care about anything related to that's political and something small like alcohol. I understand that maybe to some of the European countries it's a big export. But I don't, in the grand scheme of things, I don't see it as being a huge market moving event. So just be careful with getting stuck in the weeds with some of this stuff. However, my point is that the news coming out has been a lot more positive, almost like everyone doesn't want the market to drop further than this. I mean, Putin was just speaking, right? Putin was speaking that essentially he wants the ceasefire. Ukraine and the U.S. came to an agreement on a deal. Then they brought the deal, obviously went to Russia, I guess, and Putin wants to talk to Trump. So I'm assuming Putin and Trump will have a call, and then all of this will get sorted, and then the market can skyrocket. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't head up even a little bit on the recent news, right? So you had let me see if I can pull up let's see. Putin, we'll just type in Putin and see what comes up. So he said, like, let's look at the headlines here. Maybe this is why the market's not heading higher. Putin says Russia could back Ukraine ceasefire, but there are nuances. Issues we need to discuss over ceasefire. Phone call with Trump. Merely a temporary break. First public remarks. Putin says lots of questions about ceasefire while Russia is on offensive. Yeah, so that's interesting that that's what the headlines were, because I just watched a talk earlier where it seemed a lot more positive than what is being put here with these headlines. So that's interesting to see that. and probably explains why the market is not pumping at all on this news. But I could see Putin and Trump having some kind of phone call, something positive coming out, and then we get the huge pump. Because it seems like Trump is trying to stop this decline, even though he said he doesn't care about markets. It seems like he triggered the decline, and now he's trying to stop it. I mean, he basically did a commercial for Tesla yesterday, right? So if we look at Tesla, Tesla's down 4.5%, but after the commercial, it pumped like 8%. So, you know. I'm happy with that though. I don't see anything wrong with supporting U.S. companies by doing a little baby commercial, especially since Elon Musk is helping him a lot and didn't have to. To be honest, I wasn't even gonna care about the U.S. election until Elon Musk got involved, and then I thought, oh, okay, if Elon Musk is involved, then maybe something real can actually get done. Because he's like him or hate him, he's created a lot of companies that have actually done things and shaken up a lot of industries. And so I thought, okay, well, if anybody can shake up the US, it should be Elon Musk. So I don't see anything wrong with Trump trying to help with the Tesla pump a little bit, because the stock is down, 40%. And maybe by Trump saying he loves Tesla, they can get a few extra sales and that'll help the stock. Although I don't personally believe that Tesla is going to be a car company in the very near future. I think it's going to be a robotics company, robotics plus robotaxis. And I think that's going to be the next big thing. I think robotaxis and robotics are going to basically take over the world. Not in like a dystopian way where the robots take over everything. Not in that way. Don't think of it like that. But in terms of it, they will literally, put every person who's doing a menial labor job out of work. Like, why would you, if you have a robot that can work 24/7 for $3 an hour, why would you hire someone that can only work 8 hours a day for like $20 an hour? And don't get me started on what's happening with AI. Like, AI is going to change so many industries. Software as a service companies could possibly be screwed. I think in the next year you could make any software you want. You're not going to need to buy it. You can just tell the AI and it'll make it for the most part for you. I think a lot of big changes are coming and people aren't prepared. I would recommend making as much money as you can right now over the next 2 to 3 years, because whatever you're doing may be replaced in the near future. Okay, let's go back to the S&P. So again, this M2 money supply thing, that's going to be a big part of my report that I come out with. But I don't believe that only this M2 money supply thing is what affects markets. I think that's an oversimplification. And I'm going to talk about that more in my report that hopefully I get out tomorrow, if not by Monday at the latest. I was going to come out with it today, but I just don't like... I oversimplified the M2 money supply thing, and I just don't think it's that simple. So I'm gonna redo that. Yeah, robot AI, exactly. Yeah, glad you agree. So that's why I'm bullish on Tesla, because that's what they're transitioning to. I don't think they're going to be a car company much longer. At least not as their primary money-making business model. Okay, so S&P, this is what I'm looking at. However, keep in mind that this daily looks terrible. It's very oversold. So if it's this oversold, it could result in a bounce. If we look at these lower time frames, like 4 hour, honestly, I would watch this 4 hour. If RSI can cross in this 4 hour, we look a lot better. But as of right now, this is extremely bearish. This doesn't look good. If we go back to a weekly chart, I do want to point out a couple things. So we're at this 50-week moving average here. And you can see we ran through it once and then just bounced massively. That's something that happened before. We had other scenarios where we went through it, bounced massively, and then rolled over completely. This is going, if this happens, this matters a lot right here. How the market reacts here is the biggest thing. And I think we could get something where we do like a double top. That could happen, but we have to see how it develops. That's going to be the next big thing to watch if we actually get the bounce. If I go further back, you can see in the COVID crash, it did act as a resistance and we went straight through. A bunch of other times it's acted as resistance. 2016, resistance, resistance, resistance. And here it also acted as, oh, I'm sorry, I should have said support. And then here it's like rejections because of resistance. So it's an important level that I'm watching. This whole area is extremely important. We can't break down from here. If we do, it gets pretty ugly pretty fast. All right, so let's look at where, let's look at a potential downside scenario, right? So if we roll over from here, honestly, I need to go to a lower time frame to do this, but can basically do it. Okay, I had to sneeze. Pretty much do it from here. Yeah, so around 5,600, 5,060, sorry, which is right here and lines up with basically our 38.2 of the entire range and this big support area right here. Okay, so 38.2 of the entire range plus big support area plus ABCD. So if we do break down, that's where we're going to go. And you can see how I looked at the fibs for the whole range. However, if we don't and we bounce from here like I think that we should, then we could be looking at, let me see if I can pull this chart up. Is it in this one? I think it's in this one that I drew my levels. Come on, please be the right chart. Please be the right chart. It's not the right chart. Damn. I don't remember which chart I drew all my levels. Anyway, see my previous baby powder report where I pointed out that we would go to like 64, 6,500. So if we bounce, that's the potential target. That was the 4.669 target based on looking back all the way on the S&P, SPY actually, all the way back to like 2000. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm seeing. And I just can't. I can't get too bearish yet. I'm bearish, but not. I don't know how to phrase this. We definitely broke down. This was ugly. But this is also a major support. And we're very oversold. So just keep that in mind. That this could head higher still. Okay, I think I kind of beat this one to death. If we don't break out in this 4 hour though, we're definitely heading lower. So be cognizant of that. I need to see this RSI on the 4 hour on the other side. We could even look at this like range, right? So if this is our range, where do we head to if assuming we do bounce? So the bounce would go up to 5,900, and that's where you'd want to take profits. This lines up perfectly with my trend heuristic resistance level and 4.618, 4.669. I have 4.618, but it's basically the same. And then 90-day VWAP, which is also a big level. A lot of big levels right here, along with the midpoint of our uptrending channel. So this is where I would take profits if I was long, and I would look to hedge any long-term position. I would hedge short here with puts or something like that. That's what I would do. That's what I'm personally hoping for. Like I want to see, I'm quite long right now, and I want to see a bounce up to here, and I'm going to exit some of my longs, and I'm going to hedge short. Okay, hopefully that helps explain things. So I know I spent the last kind of 20 minutes just talking about the S&P, but everything's going to follow this. Like this is the main thing that matters. Something else I wanted to touch on, because actually a lot of things also follow this. This is a big thing, is USD JPY. So when did the USD JPY start going down? Well, first dump happened mid-January. And when did the S&P start going down? Well, first dump happened February 20th, so about 1 month later. So JPY started dumping, and then as it got more and more violent, that also pulled the S&P down. Remember we had the big scare about like the carry trade, the Japanese yen carry trade. So that's also something to be aware of and watch out for. However, we are at a support right here, major support level, and we've got a TD9. And you can see every time the TD9s come in, we basically had a bounce. Here, 7-8 bounce, 7-8-9 bounce, 7-8-9 bounce. Okay, so same here. And if it bounces, then that's bullish for markets. So also another kind of bull case idea. Okay, what else do I want to show you guys? DXY. So obviously DXY, right, is rolling over, which would normally be risk off. Interesting that it is also printing a 7 and 8. So that's interesting considering the yen is printing a bullish 8, meaning like, so let me see if I can. So this means that the yen is getting stronger against the dollar. Unless I have it backwards, it really doesn't make sense. How is it? Hold on. Because if this is going down, then the yen should be going down. Actually, if the US dollar is going down, the yen should also, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, but we want to see this go up. All right. But if the US, sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry, guys. Talking too fast. If the US dollar is going down like this, then the yen should have been going up because it's getting weaker compared to the dollar. But for some reason, they both went down, which is odd, unless I'm reading something wrong. If I'm reading something wrong, you guys correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And why does this matter? Again, because if the Japanese yen gets too strong, then there's something called a carry trade that can unravel, and that could roll markets over as well. And that's what a lot of people are concerned about. Okay, so there's that. I wanted to touch on that. I talked about M2 money supply. We're going to go into more detail with it in a report. I talked a lot about the S&P, as I said, and if it's rolling over and heading lower, it's going to pull everything down. You see how Bitcoin's dropping here? So this is Bitcoin on a 15-minute chart. We can go on a 15-minute chart with the SPY. Same thing, right? So the SPY is dropping, so therefore Bitcoin is also dropping. That's it. That's what happens. It's all connected, especially now. Like crypto, I know a lot of people are fascinated and interested in crypto, but now that Wall Street is deeply involved and the US government is talking about Bitcoin and all this stuff, it, like, whatever happens to markets here is going to happen to Bitcoin. You can't really escape it. That's just how it is. Okay. Maybe I take a quick peek at metals. I'm going to talk about metals more in my report tomorrow, but we can take a quick peek. Oh, look at silver. Silver seriously rallying. Not sure why, but it is. Kind of a breakout on the weekly chart. Looking good here. 2.618 was our big resistance level. So now we should, total final level is 48 up here. I can even do a little bit of a second one here, right, like that. And that could be like a short-term target at 40, which would make sense with our 3.59 level. Yeah. You could even consider this whole area kind of a like mini consolidation like that. I wouldn't go to this one. I would go here because this lines up with the whole. I try to look at it as like a rectangle and see how things line up. So you can see how it lines up with that similar levels up here. So that's what I'm seeing for silver. That's where you could go. Nice breakout. Looks pretty good. But at 8 on the daily chart. So maybe you get a pullback first. I'd like to see a pullback, then I can start looking for some longs or a push higher. I need to see a push higher or a bit of a pullback, and then I can get in. Something like that, or, you know, tag here, oscillate here, and then I can enter long and roll, ride it higher. Probably similar for gold. We can look at gold. Gold hit 3,000. Yeah, look at gold, just straight up. It's been an uptrend, weekly uptrend. 3,700 is my target. We tagged this 2.618, rejected, and then we pushed through it. Now we're just slowly pushing higher. Yeah, I expect this to just kind of continue in this upward fashion. And this would kind of be your range here, right? Which lines up with our 3.59. So next 4.618 target is at 3,200 or so. So expect a move up to there and then a rejection, play in that area, and then final move up to 3,700. That's what ideally I think we should see with gold. How much since like February 2024? So in 1 year, it is up a lot. It's up 50%. It's pretty good for gold. Can't complain. You know, they did all that money printing. Everyone thought gold would move higher, and it didn't. And now finally, when I think a lot of people are not paying attention, it's finally moving up. It's kind of funny how that happens, isn't it? Very funny. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin. I don't want to make it too long of a show today. Not too long. What happened to where's my parallel channel? It's annoying. Huh. All right, we'll just talk about Bitcoin here. I wanted my parallel channel back. Okay, so crypto. It's kind of following the same thing as the S&P, as I kind of told you guys. So it makes sense that as the S&P is dumping, crypto is also dumping. I said that the dump in the S&P started around the end of February, second to last week, I think. If I go here, when did we start jumping? Yeah, a little bit earlier with crypto. So we topped in January and we still started really jumping in February. So since then, we went down as low as 20%. So I guess you can look at crypto as almost a 2x play on the S&P. So it's just kind of a leverage play, right? And until this daily turns around, you've got to lean bearish. S&P definitely looks a bit, in my opinion, a bit better than this, where it's very oversold, while crypto is not. Bitcoin's not that oversold. So it has room to, I guess, head lower. But it does look like a decent consolidation in this area. We did tag the 50% level. We are playing with this 200-day moving average. I would lean bearish until this breaks out of this downtrend. I wish I had something more constructive to say, but that's kind of it. I mean, we can look at total. I can give a better perspective with that one. Total crypto market cap. You can see how RSI on every time frame is bearish, by the way. So something I didn't like is that this was my long-term. This is my long-term uptrend, and we broke through this, and we closed below it right here. That was the close, and I really wanted to see a bounce. I really wanted to see a bounce here on this candle. So we have 3 days to go. I would like to see a bounce. Otherwise, this looks really, really bad. If it can bounce, then it's just a fake out. But as of right now, it's absolutely garbage. However, you do have divergence here, right? You've got this divergence. So potential there for a bounce. But overall the trend is down. So we have to keep our eyes, like keep checking this every day. That's really it. And you're kind of in this like downtrending channel. I think this shows it pretty well. Like what does price action look like? I could even extend it to here. Kind of make it line up like that. You can see your midpoint levels playing around in this area. And you could go down as low as 2.2 or bouncing, but that's kind of your downtrending channel you're in here. Trying to see if there's any rhyme or reason or patterns to this decline, but I don't see that much. And you can see how quickly this turned bearish because the rest of the market did. I don't really have a... This looks like it's in a kind of a bottoming stage. Let me see one thing here. We did tag 61. We did tag 61.8 right there. Now, ideally, I would like to buy down here, right? Maybe I'll go back to the Bitcoin chart. I think this is hard for you guys to kind of understand. It is almost exactly the same. It's not exactly, but it's close. But you can see on Bitcoin, we only tagged 50% level, while on total, we tagged the 61.8. There's that difference. But otherwise, you have the same kind of downtrending parallel channel, just like that, right? And you've got your 50%, and then your 61.8 is down here at 72. So it is possible that we just oscillate here, and we have an eventual wick down to 72 before we bounce. Keep that in mind. I don't see us going lower than this. I think this is a very strong support level. It lines up with massive, absolutely massive support all here, right there, all these previous 2024 levels. I don't see it going lower than that. So if you see people starting to call for like 60K, 65K, know that the chance of hitting that is very, very slim. It's very slim. More than likely, we bounce from 72, at least over the next week, until I talk to you guys again. So that's Bitcoin, and pretty much all the altcoins are going to follow. It's all going to follow. Just whatever Bitcoin does, everything else is going to do it to a varying degree. I don't know if it's worth it to go over specific targets. You guys aren't very talkative today anyway. Maybe it's because I didn't put my camera on. Normally, you guys ask more questions about different alts. Maybe everybody got wrecked and we're away kind of licking our wounds. I would understand that. So I'm watching a couple. I've got Optimism. I'm watching. Doesn't look great yet. I was hoping for more of a bounce from this because it did take out these previous lows. You could see if this was your downtrend, we came on the other side and we're just kind of riding the trend line down. But we've got nice divergence building on things like MACD and also RSI, right? Even though price made a lower low. That tells me that we're getting close to a bottom. It is on a daily chart. And all the altcoins kind of look like this. Another one is like SUI, right? It's kind of the same as Optimism, not as pronounced. But you can see how we were broke out on the other side, and then we've just been riding this trend line down. This one doesn't have any divergence between here and here. Might almost be a hidden bull because you've got RSI at the same level, but price in a downtrend. Precious metals, check out AG. What is AG? But again, you can see all of crypto is getting pulled down with the rest of the market. So just be careful. Don't get liquidated in the meantime. Just survive. AG. AMD, by the way, is hitting an 8 on Tom DeMark. So I'm seriously looking at more positions. However, it is still on the weekly chart in a downtrend. So any position, I would only recommend spot just to kind of dollar cost average and accumulate. Intel bounced nicely today. So I do like the look of Intel. And I could see it, moving significantly higher if this is your range, right? Up to 53. It already bounced today, but even with the bounce, you've got like a 5-to-1 risk reward. I'm long from down here, so my risk reward was very low. It's like 14-to-1. So that this one, it looks pretty good on a weekly chart, and you can see it at a pullback and then a bounce on a daily. Maybe this gap is filled down here, and then you can get your chance to get long if you can get a gap fill. But overall, I like how it looks. Not crypto, but PMs. Check out AG. What is AG? AG. Silver. Oh, you just want me to look at silver futures? It wants me to fill out some First Majestic Silver Corp. Yeah, look at that consolidation. Wow. 2021, it was 17, and now it's only 6. Quite the consolidation on a weekly chart. Yeah, I could go all the way back to 19. Stop below these lows. Yeah, even now 6-to-1 risk reward ratio, 5-to-1 if you're a little bit more liberal with your stop. Daily looks pretty good, although you have a 7 coming in. I would want to see a little bit of a pullback, kind of to like $6 area, $6 to like 6.20, and then I would be okay buying some with a long-term target, just a spot position. Looks decent. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate the idea. Let's go to what I have over here. So investor sentiment survey, still 59% bearish. I don't know how the market can keep dropping when everyone's bearish, apparently. Doesn't make any sense. Reverse repo, like to look and talk about this. So we did get a huge spike, right? And then we're just kind of sitting here at around 130 for a while. Although it's interesting because we sat around 100 for a while and then even lower. And then all of a sudden they decided to sit at like 50 billion higher level. Also, we've been watching this closing. So the TGA, we thought that it would continually be drawn down, which would inject liquidity into the market. It's not really being drawn down. It's a little bit, like from this last week, 2 weeks ago, actually. 2 weeks ago, we're at 537, and now we're just at 500. It's not that different. We were looking for a much bigger drawdown. So that direct influx of capital is not really happening. And then puts and calls, the options, are looking weird tomorrow. Normally you would have like an equal amount of calls and equal amount of puts. Instead, you have a massive put wall, a lot of puts, and then almost no calls up to 575, even 570. And normally that means for me that the market is going to move up. If you've got a huge kind of wall, the market normally moves in the opposite direction of that wall. If you have a huge amount of puts and calls on both sides, it gets pinned in the middle. But if you have something like this, it'll get pushed up to 565, 570. This makes me lean bullish on the market. It doesn't always work. It's just another metric to have a tool in your tool belt, but something I kind of wanted to point out and show that this is not a normal looking options expiry at all for the S&P. Forex, I'm gonna like to look at this first, but let's see. So these metrics you guys saw already, everything came in really, really positive, actually. This is all positive. Preliminary consumer sentiment. So we'll see how consumers are feeling. And then really nothing until Monday, of course. I don't know where the Trump speaks things are. There's no, usually there's a bunch of red things where it says like Trump is going to speak, Trump is going to speak. But it feels like Trump speaks every day. Sometimes it's fun for me to watch as like entertainment, but once or twice I'm like, I wish he wasn't speaking today. Just leave the markets alone. IPI. Nick, where are you finding all of these? Interesting to see crypto fear and greed is only at 45. We're still in like neutral area. That's interesting considering we barely rallied. Thought I would show this too. Let me refresh it. All right, so we've got a big amount at around 80,000 to be liquidated, but way more above. So up to 85, 2 billion. Here you basically you have like 600 million. 7-day chart, same kind of thing. You know, it looks like a spike down to 80K would take out a lot, and then you could just rally all the way up to 87 and take out 5 billion. Damn, wow. Yeah, so I think for Bitcoin, a spike down to 79 and then a massive rally. That's what I could see happening based on what I'm seeing here. You know, kind of same with finance. Just a spike down to 79 and then just a huge move up. Which I think is kind of what we're seeing, right? We're getting like a bit of a rug pull here. Bitcoin almost more than I think the normal markets. Yeah, big rollover. So down to here really quick and then bounce 79. Does it even need to go to 79? I think it already, yeah, just 80 actually. Where are we right now? 80,600. So for maximum liquidations, only down to here, like 80, 79, 800, and then a big spike right up here to 87. Which, if we do an ABCD, how does that look? Yeah, look at how that lines up perfectly. So that's the kind of Bitcoin move I would look for. Any kind of tag of like 80K, between 79 and 80K, I think is good for like a quick bounce move up to 87. I like that as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Yeah. Okay. It's midnight. By the way, clocks change, so that helps me. So I can do the show at 11. It's not too bad, and then I finish by midnight. So it's midnight. I've been talking for, let's see, about 45 minutes. Just wanted to go over a couple things quickly. I think my report will be more helpful tomorrow than this show was. Next week I'll have the camera on. I feel like you guys interact more when I have the camera on. I like when you guys interact. But yeah, look for that report. Hopefully done by tomorrow, and it should be useful. Okay. Well, other than that, as usual, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Make sure to get away from the screen, exercise, spend time with family, friends, so on and so forth. And I will see you here next week. And if not, and in the meantime, I'll see you on the site, Discord, so on and so forth. All right. Hope you guys have a great weekend.